Can Bitcoin solve the housing crisis? That's what we're looking into today. My name's Jeremy. This is Modern Moneymakers. Thanks for stopping by. And I found an interesting article on Bitcoin Magazine. And we're going to, walk through this and talk a little bit about the premise here. The author, it's an editorial by Leon Wankum, I want to say. Not sure if I'm getting the last name correct, but anyhow, it's a fantastic article. I love the premise here, but before we get into that, let's just look at this graph that the author, supplied in the article, and this line that's rising dramatically clearly is housing prices. This line that's basically going sideways with a little tiny upward movement, yeah, that's income change, right? So that gap here is what's wrecking people and creating that housing crisis and making it impossible for people to get into homes. I think millennials have been getting screwed on housing for years, and now Gen Z is getting it even worse. Gen X, usually had their houses in time before, a lot of this run up happened, and boomers were, very well established in their positions before this run up happened here. Myself, I'm a Gen Xer, so I am speaking from the Gen X perspective that millennials and Gen Z totally getting screwed on housing, and it continues to be the case. And why is that? Well, real estate has been an investment, a store of value, if you will, for a lot of more wealthy individuals. So if they could store money there and get great returns, which obviously they have, then why wouldn't they? So from utility to speculation, the author goes on to describe that a little bit. And from speculation to utility, we're moving back towards Bitcoin as a store of value, and why this might appeal to that same audience, because we know that Bitcoin chart starts to look a lot like that housing chart in the long run, right? So what if you could use that as your store of value to, grow your wealth, and you don't have all the upkeep, the house repairs, the upgrades, the tax dollars that you have to put into the home, things like that. So all of the maintenance and upkeep that goes into a house does come at a price. You don't have that with Bitcoin, but you do have that ability to store value and actually, multiply your money over time. So I think that's generally the premise of the article. Can Bitcoin solve the housing crisis? I don't know, but I love this premise that it could relieve some of that pressure, right, from wealthy investors scooping up all those properties and really running up the prices of the housing market. Which when you combine that with the low supply, it's the price only really does one thing, and it goes up dramatically as we've seen in the housing markets. So if this could relieve some of that buy pressure and maybe help those prices come back down to what should be the fair market values, that I think housing is way over at this point. I think that would be a win. I'm hopeful that this author's onto something here, and I know that income is not going to rise as we've seen housing prices rise. So we're not going to close the gap from the income standpoint. So it has to be from that, from that supply and that demand and that pricing standpoint. And hopefully, we get some of this money flowing into Bitcoin and relieving some of that pressure on the housing market. Great premise, great article. I love it. And let's talk about another thing here that I found. The Bitcoin hash rate hits an all-time high amid stagnating prices. And guys, this is exactly, what you need to be looking at right now. I mean, if you are in this market and you want to, make some money in this market, not financial advice, but right now is probably the best time to be scooping things up. I think we've seen a lot of evidence of a lot of whales, increasing their positions in Bitcoin. A lot of analysts have written numerous articles on that. I think I put it into a short yesterday. But in any event, there's a lot of buy pressure right now, right on Bitcoin, and we're essentially going sideways. So there's a lot of accumulation in these ranges. And we're approaching the halving, as most of you know, and the price that generally does one thing, because on this note of the hash rate hitting all-time high, the hash rate is driven by what? The miners. How do the miners get their money? Well, they get block rewards. Every time you mine a block, you get some Bitcoin out of it. And what does the halving do? It halves the rewards. It halves the number of Bitcoins that come out when the miners mine a block. So that does obviously one thing to price. When the rewards are cut in half and the profit still needs to be there, that floor price for miners remain profitable generally goes up. Um, but really what happens is that supply shock from the halving, shoots the price up disproportionately, and then it crashes back down to a new floor, which is higher than you came in at, right? So this 30-ish thousand dollars that we're sitting at right now, that seems to be, that stable point. Bitcoin's almost like a stable coin at this point. Seems to be a point where miners are generally, still profitable. And a good point of support. So obviously a lot of accumulation in this range. I do expect Bitcoin to start moving towards the end of this year as we get closer to the halving, and I think, and getting into early next year. And I think if you're fans of altcoins, some of the degens out there will be playing some alternative coins, knowing that their prices are influenced by the original here, Bitcoin, the big dog here. So it's good for us, even if you're not really buying Bitcoin, if you're buying other things, to be aware of what's going on with Bitcoin and how that impacts the market at large. So the hash rate hitting new all-time high just tells me, hey, these miners are mining at full capacity. They're adding hash rate all the time. They're spinning up new mining operations. This is driving that hash rate up, and I think the price will follow that hash rate over the next, coming weeks slash months as we get into 2024 and begin to approach that halving. Another thing that is obviously driving prices, in driving that I guess stability at the 30,000 mark, and when this actually becomes a reality, the price surely will pump. But more and more news on BlackRock, and they want to launch a Bitcoin ETF, and everyone's probably sick of hearing about it by now because everyone's been talking about this ETF for so long. But let's take a look at these three bullet points here. I'm just going to zoom in here. And BlackRock's CEO talked up Bitcoin last week, with the asset manager trying to launch a fund that tracks it. Cryptocurrencies could revolutionize finance, Larry Fink said. The question he didn't answer is why now? And I think, I kind of got to that in the last tab there on the news of the hash rate is at an all-time high, and we're approaching the halving. And I think the halving is the why now. I think they're starting to realize that Bitcoin is here to stay. It's a very big market cap coin. There's a lot of opportunity here for traditional finance to get involved and to make a lot of money along the way. So certainly BlackRock is the biggest one, right? They're the biggest fish in that pond, or whale, I guess you could say. And they're going to certainly have the inside track here, and hopefully pave the way for other ETFs to follow. I think it's a matter of when, not if, this ETF gets approved, right? And this probably will be a real catalyst for the bull market going forward. Again, not financial advice, but um, once that happens and we see that money coming into Bitcoin, that rising tide tends to raise all ships, right? Now we're gonna have a little fun and look at my meme coin portfolio from back in May. Some of you may remember that I built this meme coin portfolio just for fun, and I said it would probably go down before it went up, and here it is. It's down almost 40%. Darn, I was hoping I could get down 50% or so here. But it went from, right around $100, $110 or something like that, down to just under 50, I think. Um, and it shows everything at a loss here. Technically speaking, Pepe is in profit by itself, plus 380 on the digital currency or asset itself. But once you factor in the fees, which is why it's showing me as down in that coin, I haven't outrun the fees yet, so I'm technically down, $3 there. Down about almost $40 on my Ben coin, which I do think will be a pretty quick mover when the market starts to move the right direction. I think that probably has enough traction to get back. And I was kind of doing this as a joke initially to see what happened with these meme coins, because meme coins are basically a casino, right? Showing you that they can go down pretty dramatically. Maybe with a few moves I'll also get to show you that they'll have the potential to go up dramatically as well, because for the $100-ish that I put into this little meme coin portfolio, I'm, the mind to just let it sit there and observe it and see, see what happens. And it's just, the entertainment factor, right? So, maybe you're doing some things with meme coins, and what really is the next Pepe, right? Everyone would love to hit the next Pepe, and I think back to last bull cycle and Shibarium, Shiba or whatever, however you want to call it. That coin, I just kept thinking, boy, that's going to crash any day now, and all these people are going to be out, and it just kept running and running and running up all the way towards the big crash when everything went. But I mean, that thing continued to run so much longer than I expected it to, and I just gave zero credit to the power of the meme coin, right? And for whatever reason, there's masses of people out there that are really attracted to these meme coins for whatever. I don't know why, it just is. So is the next Pepe still yet to be, or is this going to be another Shibarium or Shiba, whatever you want to call it? Is this going to be another, Sheeb, where it just, continues to run and run and run and run through an entire bull cycle and just pump and pump and pump and pump until, Bitcoin does its drop at the end, probably late 25, early 26, when Bitcoin starts, entering what would become the new bear market, right? And then your major meme coins will go down like 99%. I fully expect Pepe, if it's still pumping towards the end of the bull run, to be one of those that goes all the way down, 99% or whatever, basically to zero, right? But it could actually move significantly against the rest of the market going into 2024 and into mid to third quarter ish of maybe even early fourth quarter, of 2025, somewhere in that September to October to maybe November time range is kind of what I'm thinking. And if this thing continues to run, much like Sheeb did last year, or last year, 2 years ago, or whenever it was, the last bull market, right? Boy, it could really run hard. And meme coins, I know they have no use. I've got no use for them personally right now, but I do have to respect the power of the meme coin, and I have to acknowledge that the masses of people that come in and inject liquidity into these projects really do drive that price. So, what's the new Pepe? Tell me in the comments below. Is the new Pepe literally just more Pepe, or is it, something else? Is there some up and comer that you're looking at? I'd love to hear about what meme coin projects you're excited about. But, thanks for looking at this fun little portfolio with me. We'll revisit it from time to time and see how this little degen portfolio goes. And I've got another couple portfolios we'll track together that we'll track profit and loss. It'll be mostly profits in some of the portfolios that I think are a little bit stronger plays. But until next time, thanks for stopping by, Modern Moneymakers. This is Jeremy.